Three, two, one.
Hey,
Hey, what's up, Seekers?
girls.
Wanuki with Golden Dragon Fortunes, your K-Rap Psychic. I'm here with,
Mei Lee, feng shui consultant, numerologist.
okay. So today we're going to do just a quick live stream, and this is by a viewer request, like it's been pretty much since we started. And there's a couple of requests that we have. And if you want, you can make some comments. We're still testing the comments thing, so if you want to comment, please do. Down on the side here, I'm going to put here anybody out there. I know it's kind of last minute, but maybe you're just scrolling by. Um, did you see that? Do you see? I guess I don't made you part of a presenter, huh? Maybe I have to do something like that.
Hmm.
Not sure how to do that.
No, I don't see any of your comments. Nothing.
Okay, let me see. Um, no, I thought you were set up as maybe you could see these things, but
Mm-mm.
I'll have to research that for next time. Anyway, so we're going to be doing a little live stream here for a few minutes, and we're going to be doing um, these people. So um, we're going to be doing, by request, um, a guy named Lucas from NCT. It's NCT is a huge boy group. It's like 23 members, but they kind of break them down into subgroups. So this person used to be Lucas used to be part of NCT, I think NCTU, I think the Chinese group subgroup Wavy, maybe the SM Entertainment super male group Super M. So obviously he was pretty talented and well thought of and part of all these things. So we're gonna do him, and then we have a request from for to do Aespa. Now we did Karina of Aespa a couple episodes ago when maybe you weren't here, but so she was the leader, and so we did her. But we might as well just do the whole group because the request was like, how is Aespa going to be in 2023? So I think I gave you the debut date, so you kind of use that as kind of the birth date, I guess, for the group. And but I do have some. Also, we can look at the other three members individually, see what's up with them, numerology, and fortunes for the other three members. The other three members, just to let you know, Meili, Karina is the leader, and I think she might be the oldest too. And then there's um, there's Giselle, um, who's uh, who's on there, and Winter. That these are their stage names, and then there's Ning Ning. So we'll look at all those briefly too, and then see what this says for their numerology and also their future. So that's what we're going to do. So I guess let's get started. Get right
Okay.
into it. So Lucas, NCT. Um, he is he was part of it, like I said, NCT, Wave V, Super M. I think NCTU. I mean, I don't. I this is the one of these super malleable groups, with subgroups, and it's really confusing. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to keep up. 23 different guys. So it's like an army, like two football teams. Anyway, he was. This was requested from Seeker Akoli'i Lohe. I think I pronounced that right. Sounds Hawaiian, doesn't it? Akoli'i
Huh?
Lohe, but maybe they're from somewhere else. So if you're out there, Akoli'i Lohe, Seeker, then hey, welcome. Come come aboard. Or if you see us later, welcome. And just a little bit about mm, Lucas. Um, his date of birth is 1999, January 25th, in Hong Kong, China. So he's from Hong Kong, and he's his real name is Wang Yuk and his father is Chinese, and actually he's mixed. His mother is Thai, and So I don't think he speaks Thai though. I think he speaks Mandarin. I mean, his native language is Cantonese. The native dialect is Cantonese, and he, of course, had to learn Mandarin when he was training, and also Korean because it's a Korean, agency. And he's been on. The thing is, he's been on hiatus. Maybe you don't know the history here, but he's been on hiatus. I mean, he's very popular, but uh, a little bit over about 15 months ago, about October 2021, he was involved in some type of controversy on the internet where some of maybe his past relationships or something were, kind of doing some exposés online that said that he was, terrible boyfriend, he was gaslighting them, and this kind of grew kind of into a kind of mushroomed into a big controversy, and obviously, probably 90% of his fans are female. So, um, and so it kind of got blown up, and he was accused of all this stuff, and things came out. I don't know, if that's, we don't know if it's really true. I mean, I don't know the facts, but I do know that, around that time also, maybe people don't know this, but from a geopolitical point of view, um, China was kind of starting to clamp down on all these pop stars, and he was part of the Chinese group. Um, and they were kind of saying they didn't want to have, they wanted to get, I mean, politically, China said, we want to have, more hardworking people. We don't want to have all these, glamorous people, these tech people, these pop idols to make all this money when there's poor people and farmers starving or whatever. So the political government of China said, hey, we want to focus on the common uh, prosperity. I think that's what they called it, the common prosperity. So there was kind of an undercurrent at that time to kind of root out, corruption in the entertainment industry, kind of slap down some of the big tech giants that were getting too powerful and too rich. And so I don't know. That's a little talked about, but I think it was happening around the same time. So he may, have been one of those that got, kind of got stirred up and shot down. Who knows? Obviously we don't know all the facts, but anyway, the request is like, okay, well, he's starting to show up on social media a little bit, just recently. So maybe he's, kind of trying to recoup his fans and maybe trying to position himself to come back and find some good graces with his fans after he's been kind of shamed and thrown into exile, entertainment exile for the last over a year. So that's the backstory of Lucas. But But let's see what the numerology says about Lucas. Maybe that'll tell us something. So, Mandy?
Well, I think what it is with him, he just gets a little bored maybe because he relies so much on his subconscious combined with his conscious level of thinking. So I think
Hmm.
what happens is that, because he likes to dive into a variety of different subject matters and he's so aware of what's going around him in the world. I don't know if he intends to be, you know, that way with other people, but maybe he's just in his own mind, his own thoughts, and his own kind of his own reality. I think that's why. That's his to the 25 of his birthday. So that's how he kind of feels and thinks and moves forward in life. So I don't think he may intentionally want to do it, but it's just that he's just immersed in his own thoughts, and they go deeper than just what's around him. They go into his soul, his spirit, that type of energy.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
But maybe he's a bit of a narcissist and kind of self-centered, and maybe that's why he's gaslighting these, supposedly gaslighting these relationships.
Or maybe he could be possibly, he wants to get into them, and then he thinks a little bit about it, and then subconsciously maybe he says, well, they're not going to be right for me, so why should I start? Maybe he just doesn't have a polite way of saying no.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Well, but he's an idol. He's
Yeah.
handsome. He's attractive. He's talented. So it's kind of like, rock star status. You're going to have. probably more opportunities than most, and being young, I mean, not like he's going to get married right away. So, you know, I
He
mean,
just
I don't want to
maybe,
make excuses for men and or him, but that's the reality of it.
well, he maybe be too polite and says yes, and then realizes, no, this is not what I want to do, or this is not where, I want to be, and
Yeah.
ghosts.
I don't know the details, but gaslighting, kind of means that, it wasn't about being polite. He was like saying, hey,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, yeah, you're great. I love you or whatever. Let's do this. And, but meanwhile, I'm over here doing something else with somebody
Well,
else.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he just is all over the place. He's
Yeah.
all everywhere now, so he might be putting too much on his plate at the same time as well.
Well, obviously he was really busy and popular, but so he's got to have to dry out a little bit over the last 15 months, cool off, go in a cave and hide, is what he's kind of done. Lucas sightings, like all the fans were trying to figure out, well, where is he? Just to let you know, the little crackle pop Rice Krispies audio come through again when you were talking. I don't know what happened, if you changed anything, but uh,
Oh,
okay, maybe we just need to get better audio. Okay, so that's Lucas from NCT. Let's see what the tiles say about his future moving forward here and what's up with that. So um, let's focus on going down here and let's see what they say. So let's focus our energies on Lucas. I wonder where he is. Maybe is he in Korea? Is he in Hong Kong? I wonder because he's from Hong Kong, but he works, in Korea. So he's been hiding someplace. We don't know. Um, so let's see what these little tiny mahjong tiles say about his future for the year. And it says that things might start to come together over the next 3 months. It's going to take perseverance and effort, and he has to kind of take the long-term view of things. This is the jade, the four of circles, represents, a metaphor for, jade, which is just a rock in nature. But with humans finding that rock, they can maybe, manipulate that rock and smooth it down and turn it into jade jewelry, something more valuable. So the metaphor here is that it's going to take this potential, still potential, and for his career, and it's going to take perseverance and effort still. But there may be something that may come out of that. In fact, it says that the Jung shows up here. Um, so he being Chinese, he knows what this means. It means that everything may be coming together to the center and starting to maybe have some achievement or some success or the timing, maybe the right time. This is probably over the next 3 months. So maybe we'll have to see if he starts to dribble out little hints here, little hints there. Maybe try to create a little bit of interest for himself. Um, it does say that he may still have, as he moves forward, maybe about 3 to 6 months from now, he still may want to do his duet. I didn't mention, but he just before this controversy hit, he was about to launch a duet with another member of NCT. Uh, I forget his name. I think it's uh, Hendery. So Henry and then Lucas were going to do this. They're kind of teasing out and going to launch this duet that they had already recorded and produced and ready to go. It was called Jalapeno. So I don't know. Maybe it was going to have a reggaeton beat, kind of target maybe the Latin audience in South America. I mean, it sounds like jalapeno. So something hot, little caliente, little something habanero. No, it's jalapeno. So not quite that hot. But anyway, so spicy little tune, maybe reggaeton with a duet. Well, we don't know, but that was the name of it. So we're kind of reading into it. But they were already announcing it. Like here it's coming, it's coming. All of a sudden, like bam! No, wait a minute, hold off. You know, we've got some gaslighting accusations in social media, and this guy maybe he's some type of creep, or this is bad publicity, obviously. So they just put on hold, the whole thing on hold, and it's been like over a year. So Anyway, but it says that he's going to want to look at these tiles. The fire tile shows up, says, hey, there's something he wants to take a risk on and move forward on. So I think, and it says there's the ducks show up, and this represents a relationship or partnership. So it kind of implies that he wants to maybe get that duet out there, and maybe they will. SM maybe will. Maybe they're feeling it out as well for him, and see that maybe they can launch it maybe in the summertime, which would there be a little bit more attention and maybe a better time when kids are out of school, and and also there's a lot of other launches going on that time as well. So that's what it seemed to say. And it seemed to say that is going to take some time and effort still. This jade still continues into the summertime, July, August, maybe September. So roughly the third quarter, about 6 to 9 months from now. And maybe the start of something new happens there. So I don't know if that's when they actually do it, or maybe they did it already, and or it seemed like they maybe want to do it and they held off until maybe that summertime, July, August, September. And it says that after all that hard work and effort and kind of manipulating the PR, it might happen because if Fa shows up and says something new is going to be out there for him, and it seemed like there's going to be maybe some success or some record sales or some receipts here. The white towel represents is there something that maybe in the media or in the press or some PR perhaps that may be different and maybe respond to you know it's kind of like let bygones be bygones, as long as you apologize. I don't know if he's apologized. I think he apologized. I can't remember, but he's going to be happy. He's going to be happy by the end of the year because of what's happened. So all you NCT, I don't know how you pronounce that, NCTisms, NCTism, and citizens, I think. Anyway, that's their fandom name, NCTIZEN. So and citizens. Uh, um, hey, maybe Lucas is going to be back in the second half of the year. It looked like maybe the summertime he might, be a jalapeno kind of thing with Hendry. Um, so that's what the towel says. So it's interesting how they kind of came out, just based on the circumstances. It seems to make sense, but we'll see if it actually happens that way. So anyway, that's Lucas from NCT, and let's see. I don't know how to keep you in here. Okay, here we go. So that's Lucas. So let's go to the next request. Um, and that's from this is for Aespa. Aespa is a four-member girl group, mainly that debuted on November 17th in 2020, kind of right, when the pandemic was still kind of lingering here. They came out and they were from one of the big entertainment companies. There's the big three, actually, it's called the big four now. Um, and probably one of the oldest ones, SM Entertainment. SM Entertainment, actually, the founder of that, I can't, his last name's Lee. Um, he just kind of sold some of his assets to another company, but he was kind of the he was kind of famous in K-pop because he was one of the guys that started this kind of boot camp, this training system, where you bring in these young kids and you get them into the agency and you train them on dancing and singing and etiquette and PR and how to work the crowd and all that stuff. So this kind of boot camp training thing kind of was his concept to try to bringing people in and finding talent instead of kind of randomly like in the US or the West, it's kind of like, well, let's randomly look for somebody that has some talent. Maybe they're on YouTube, or maybe they kind of get a chance to be heard by some producer. Um, like Justin Bieber, he was found on YouTube. He was just singing on YouTube, as a young kid, and then a producer found him and said, "Hey, I want to produce you," and then the rest is history. So Justin Bieber was, just kind of putting his talents out there. So it's different, because most Westerners wouldn't want to sign up and say, okay, agency, I mean, if you go back to the boy band days of, the late 1990s or something like that, when you look at NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, they were produced. They were kind of brought together, talent kind of surge, then match up the voices and the look. And, so they kind of did that. That's kind of a K-pop kind of style of things. In fact, this kind of trend maybe goes back all the way back to the movie days in the 1930s where they had the studios and they were dominant and they would find these young actresses and, create them, sign them up for a contract and train them and put them on a 5 movie schedule. And, so that's kind of the history of that. So K-pop is kind of taken to the next another level. Um, but yeah, Backstreet Boys, those boys, the American boy groups, they kind of did that too. In fact, that NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were produced by the same guy, and this guy was kind of really into it himself, and so he wrote these contracts where NSYNC and Backstreet Boys did make a lot of money. He made a lot of money, and he kind of created a Ponzi scheme. I forget his name, but he was running both of them, and he was trying to get actors and movie stars to get, like get close to this new act, this new hot thing. And he was getting investors to send him money, and then he got this big, created this big palace, and it was corrupt. It was a Ponzi scheme. So when it all started to tumble down, it all wiped out. So a lot of people don't know that about Backstreet Boys and Sync, Justin Timberlake, those guys. But that's what happened. Anyway, but from K-pop point of view, SM Entertainment was the one that kind of took it to another level. It did this boot camp thing, and you got to live in a dorm, and you're kind of sequestered. It's like boarding school for pop idols. You have to eat, we have to weigh you. You have to work hard. You got to do this. You got to do that. You can't go out. You can't date. You can't drive. You can't. It's kind of crazy. But that's why the talent, and the polish is so high in K-pop because it's almost like you're an indentured servant. You have to learn. You're trained from like 10, 11, 12 years old to do this for years, and then you're accumulating. What's a little known about K-pop is that costs money. The agency's got to pay for the trainers, the interpreters, the dance instructors, all these things. So these K-pop idols, if they don't debut and do debut well, they're going to have a big bill. They're going to have debt because you know, they had to pay. Ultimately, they have to pay for all this stuff. If they're successful, then they can pay it off by being successful. But 98% of K-pop wannabes, K-pop idol wannabes, are never debut or are never successful. So anyway, sorry to go into this diatribe about K-pop, but that's anyway. So Aespa is part of SM Entertainment. They debuted on 2020 11/17. Four-member girl group, kind of with the popularity of Blackpink, which debuted in 2016, 4 years earlier. SM Entertainment said, "Well, we need our version of this, girl group, and kind of get a different sound, kind of not so girly, cutesy, a little bit more, you know, uh, more strength, power, and a little bit more a different genre." So anyway, let's look at the debut numerology and what that might mean for Espa.
So are we gonna do Giselle first? Giselle was
Oh,
born.
no, we want to do the group. Can you do
Oh, the
the
group itself. Oh
yeah,
yeah, place.
yeah, the debut date, and then maybe we can kind of say that's the birth date of the group and total.
I got to see how well they're gonna do as a whole, as a team. You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So or what their numerology is,
yeah.
so we can get a
Well,
sense of.
the group has a keen awareness again of what's happening around themselves. Very strong intuition. The 11 is a really good high vibrational master number. Um,
Hmm.
so about understanding unspoken feelings and thoughts and ideas, and they also know they have a really good insight to. They just have an insight they're like guides. They're supporters. So as they are as a beautiful group of women, they also are very giving. They vibrate that very giving to their fans. So that's actually a really good debate. Debut date for them.
Okay, so it worked out well. You know what? Just to let you know, it was a monster debut for them because there was SM Entertainment was one of the big ones. They had a lot of through history, a lot of big idols that Boa, Girls' Generation, others, Super Junior. So they were a big agency and a lot of followers that followed that brand or that agency. So when they debuted, they were monster rookies. They were like hit all you know they shot up the charts. They were winning on the music shows. They came out with this song called Black Mamba, and it kind of had well, they had a different concept too. They were kind of the concept when they debuted was we're kind of virtual reality avatars, and we're also an actual group. So if we go back to look at, let me go back to slide one. You can see here, this was their avatar kind of Aespa. So they had actually, these, you know, VR or graphic personas, and then they kind of, and then this was the actual picture of them. So, so they kind of came out with this concept like we're going to be part, in internet virtual reality, and we're part reality. So that was the concept originally, but they were so powerful, and their dancing, their singing was so good. It's kind of, I think a lot of people started to say, well, we don't need the avatars. Let's just, let's just go with the girls, because they're good. So that's kind of, so when they came out, it was Black Mamba was a big hit. They followed that up with this other song called, this Next Level. We're on the next level. That was the choreography, and that was a big hit too. So anyway, and they actually probably prematurely, but last year they went to Coachella. So they came to the U.S., tried to break into the U.S. market. They went to Coachella a couple of years after Blackpink went to Coachella. Blackpink was super popular. It was the right timing and the right circumstances. But when Aespa went there, the production value and how they organized and planned it wasn't very good. So they weren't quite, it didn't have the same impact in the West, but they're very popular elsewhere. So, so interesting. So you talked about,
Yeah, that
uh,
they're very they're the date of that debut was on was 14, which is about open mindedness and change. Have
mhm.
to, so they no, it was a really good. I'm glad they're successful.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. Well, they had to be open-minded with this whole new concept and what have you. SM Entertainment was doing a lot of experimenting, at that time, even with some of the older groups, like a previous girl group to them for the same agency is Black, excuse me, Red Velvet. And Red Velvet, some of the songs, you know, for the end was kind of interesting concepts, like Zimzalabim is like, what is that, they kind of were doing a lot of experimentation. So this is anyway. This is what came out of the the lab, I guess, as far as girl groups. So okay, well, let's look at the individuals then, maybe just real quick, because we did Karina. Karina is the third one from the left, or the second one in from the right in the black and white in
Hmm.
this photo, and she's the leader. And she's really got a lot of great talents. But we did her in a previous. You weren't there, but I did a little live thing, and I did Karina. So if you're watching this and you want to know about her, you have to look at one of my previous videos, previous live videos, um, and she's there. So then we're going to look at the other three, maybe a little bit more individually, and that would be. Um, well, let's start with Giselle.
Okay, so yeah, Giselle. So I'm just gonna go. So the date of the 30th, that's the day she was born. I'm assuming,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a original thinker, innovative, excellent communicator. Has a great talent for using creativity to help not only for herself, for others as well. And she's a very optimistic young lady. So she has a very bright, cheerful, kind of like my yellow roses here, very bright and cheerful personality.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
well, just Giselle, just a little background here. Besides her birthday on October 30th, almost on Halloween there, she's actually part Japanese, part Korean. I think, I'm not sure which one of her parents is Japanese or Korean, but her real name is Uchinaga Eri. That's her, Eri is her Japanese first name, and Uchinaga is her, surname. And mm, she's a Scorpio and she's a dragon. And her Myers Briggs is a ENFP, so she's an extrovert. Um, but let's see what the towels say about. Oh, and I want to tell you, there was a little controversy with her, you know, not too long ago, maybe within the last year, where Giselle was, I don't know the details. I didn't get deep into it, but she was maybe singing a song. I guess maybe it was a Western song, something like that, or she kind of used the N word, because the song was using the N word. I think that's how it went down. But then there was a lot of, obviously feedback and controversy around using that. And then she had a I think she had to apologize. I think she apologized. I don't know all the details, but so there was some controversy swirling around Giselle. Um, and she speaks English. She speaks good English. So she speaks Korean, I guess some Japanese and English. And so anyway, sometimes these K-pop idols, there's people just are too into them. They just want to find controversy, so to fill up their their YouTube channels. But anyway, so that was she had a little bit of controversy. I think it's kind of over now, and maybe there was this cultural appropriation kind of thing. There's always this for these girl groups. I don't know if they wear the wrong kind of braid. Maybe it's going to be cornrows, and maybe that's cultural appropriation. From the African American community. So there's always a fine line there. That style, maybe you want to wear that style because you appreciate that style. You want to like it. So where do you draw the line between you're stealing our sense of culture, that or not? I mean, you could argue that K-pop itself, with the rapping, and every group has a rapper. Rapping is kind of a kind of African American thing from the U.S. Just like jazz or hip hop, these kinds of things. So there's always some controversy there. Um, anyway, so let's see what the towels say about Giselle. Um, for the next year, just kind of individually. So we'll focus on her a little bit. Let's see. Let me see if we can find the towels. Let's see what the towels are. So let's focus on Giselle, Uchinaga Eri-san, and see what is coming up for her in 2023. I don't know which part of Japan she was born in, or if she was born in Korea. Maybe she was born in Korea. I don't know where she was actually born, but she is kind of part of both cultures. Says that seemed like there's going to be an opportunity for her to have a comeback, or open up the door to something new that's nicer energy, but it's probably going to be in the fall. This is the inner town, so the door is going to be opening up for her in some way. And this is called the chrysanthemum. Represents maybe a beautiful, elegant flower. Represents maybe some nicer energy, and it's maybe there's going to be nicer energy for her and an opportunity that's going to be opening up in the fall. So I guess that might be. I don't know what it's going to be, but energy-wise, it seems like a good thing, and it's an opportunity for her to maybe put all this controversy behind her. I'm not sure where they are. I haven't kept track on their discology, so I don't know if they come out with something recently. But this one seems to say that maybe July, August, September, which is the third quarter. It's getting into summer, into fall. Maybe there's something that's going to be opened up, but she knows about it. Now she's going to be planning it, so maybe that's part of the planning process. But she kind of knows about it now, and it says that there's going to be something new that comes out. Maybe I don't know if she's going to be doing something that may have maybe a photo shoot, or if she's got a new contract or something. But there's something written, maybe part of it. This represents kind of what it looks like, kind of written communications of some sort. And this fa um, uh, represents to start or commence in this system. There's something new maybe starting, and maybe it's going to be announced, or maybe it's going to be in a magazine spread, or I think they've done some magazine spreads. I mean, they're obviously K-pop idols, and the agency's going to try to get them into commercials and magazines and show their beauty and wearing clothes and all that stuff. So, but it's something new that's coming up, probably by mid-year, and it's going to be something that there's going to be something pursuant to that that's going to be kind of surprising how it develops. Right around this 20 this third quarter, like this kind of foreshadowed here, and there may be some travel. So I don't know if that's going to be part of a tour again, or maybe she's doing something. They're doing something more in Japan, which is kind of their secondary market, or maybe they're going to come back, maybe try to explore things in different parts of the world. But there seems to be a sense of travel or something to do with landed property, or location change, and that's probably around the third quarter, July, August, September, somewhere in that time frame. And after that, she's going to feel that she has a little more flexibility and adaptability, because maybe she's worked through some things and overcome some things, and taken on some new challenges, and she's going to feel good about herself, and she's going to want to maybe toward the end of the year want to take some time or do things that maybe are good for her, you know. So I don't know if that's, you know, something that maybe personally or maybe something professionally, like, you know, maybe doing a solo or something like that. Um, I mean, I think she's a good singer, good talent, good rapper, but she's not the best singer in the group. I think Winter and Karina are and Ning Ning are known better for their, you know, their singing voices. Um, but it seems like this is something that she's going to have some flexibility and maybe express herself or do something good for herself personally by the end of the year. So anyway, that's Giselle. So how about let's look at the next person, which is Winter. Winter's Winter is her stage name. Her real name is Kim Min Jung. Kim Min Jung. Um, and she was born on interesting. She was born on the first day, uh, on the first month of the technically the first new millennia, because 2001 is actually the start of the new millennium. Um, so she's got a lot of firsts.
Oh
What
yeah,
the?
she's a born leader. She wants to be one in everything. Self-starter, innovator, creator. She's not afraid to try something new. She's a pretty
Hmm.
much of a powerhouse, that young lady is.
Okay, yeah. Well, she's got a powerhouse voice. I think a lot of people recognize that. She can really hit the high notes. She's got a strong singing voice. She kind of has this kind of fierce kind of, you know, persona, at least the public persona, that she's, you know, very determined and fierce. I mean, they all are, but Winter maybe even more than Karina, which Karina, they kind of look closer to like each other. I kind of get them confused. But but Karina, you know, is obviously the leader. She's older, but yeah, Winter. A lot of
Yeah,
people think, you know, a lot of people think that Winter is the most beautiful or the most exotic or the most, I don't know. I mean, everybody each their own, you know, but she's very popular for her visuals and her voice. Um, so, and her kind of cool as a cucumber, you know, determination to do things, you know. So that's kind of her feel, the feel of her. Um, okay, so that's it for the numerology. So she's
yeah.
wants to be number one. Yeah.
She knows what she wants. No one needs to lead her. She can lead other people.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right. Well,
yeah.
but you know, it's interesting. But I think she's, you know, on the Myers-Briggs, I think yeah, she's an ISTP. So she's an introvert, but obviously she's got a lot of determination to be number one. Um, and she's from Busan. She was born in Busan, which is the second largest city in Korea, down by the ocean. And that's kind of where, you know, just to mention some other famous people like BTS. You know, some of the members of BTS are from Busan, were born in Busan. So it's a different dialect, a little bit different way of talking. So they're not so Seoul centric, you know, because it's like everybody wants to be in Seoul. So she's got a little bit different background, different little way of. I'm sure they've kind of trained her to speak Seoul Korean because she's been training, you know. But when she probably first started, she was kind of had some expressions that were, you know, kind of more, um, you know, had a little kind of a dialect twinge to them from Busan. Um, Good seafood down there near the ocean. All right, so let's see what the tile say for winter. So looks like there's something that may be contractual or has to do with some written communications or documents that maybe have to do with her the authority in her life. So I don't know if that's her agency, SM, or maybe something to do with her family, the authority, you know, the family authority. But this is the tiger represents authority, something or someone that may have to do with authority in her life. And then this is the white tower, represents maybe something to do with some contracts or written communications, or again, maybe there's something she's doing also that maybe is a PR kind of thing with her agency. But that seems to be emphasized here in the next month or two. And there's going to be some challenges that there's going to be a door of opportunity that's opening up for her in the second quarter in the springtime, but there's going to be some challenges associated with it. This is the inner house as the door is opening up. There may be a possibility for her, a new opportunity, but the north house there's some cold wind blowing through that open door too. So it's not going to be easy to walk through that door and make things happen. There's something going to be some challenges to it for some reason, energy wise. But it says that there's going to be some surprises that come up maybe in the late summer, early fall. That kind of changes what she does and how she does it, and changes the energy of where she spends her time. So maybe that's associated with what we said with Giselle, and maybe there's something going on, late summer as far as maybe a comeback or debut or travel or something's changing about her routine. So in some surprising ways, and it says that's going to lead to some new things for her, probably with the group um, in the fourth quarter, probably October, November, December. Something new is going to be coming up, and it's going to be involving other people in a collaborative way, cooperative way. So I don't know if that's something that has to do with Aespa toward the end of the year, or a lot of times in the year, and they have some award shows and different things, and also SM Entertainment has their own little holiday kind of party showcase to show the different talents, and you can see how they interact, and so it's kind of a fun thing. I think they do it this year. So anyway, that's what it says for um, winter. So the last one, Vespa, is the Maknae, the youngest, and she's actually Chinese, um, and her stage name is Ning Ning. Um, and I don't know where in China she's from, but her real name is Ning Yish, Ning Yishao, and she was born in 2002, another October birth, 23. So what does the number say for her?
So the 23, she says that she's a really easygoing personality, very
Hmm.
flexible, has a beautiful zest for life because she just has that young, fresh energy about her.
Hmm.
She likes to approach. She likes to be in relationships. She likes to approach people. Very, very friendly young lady. Just
Yeah, well, yeah, go
inspiration-
ahead.
very optimistic and inspirational to others.
Okay, yeah. So well, she has kind of I mean, she's fierce when she's on stage, but she has kind of a sweet personality. She has a very high vocal range. So she's got a strong high-end voice. So that's kind of surprising about her. She can really knock it out at the high end with some of the best K-pop artists. So that's her kind of her what she's known for, I think, performing wise. But she kind of has a nice personality, like you say. She's friendly. In fact, her Myers-Briggs is uh, ENFP. Although, when she first tested it, it said she was INFP. So it said she's an introvert. Um, but then when they tested again, she's an extrovert. Maybe she's just being on stage more, and so she answered the questions differently. Who knows?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, she's kind of the cusp of Libra, Scorpio. So that's interesting. So Libra, has that balance and kind of seeing both sides of things, and kind of a mental sign. And then a Scorpio is more that watery, still waters run deep, kind of. So it's a deeper well of feelings there, I guess. She's somewhere mixing that together on the cusp. But let's see what the tiles say for Ning Ning.
Okay.
Okay, so we got some tiles here for Ning Ning. Just that name is kind of a cute name, like Ning Ning.
Very cute.
Yeah. Um, like Chinese names, that have that repeat sound is kind of cute. Mei Mei, like Mei Mei,
Uh-huh.
it kind of makes you feel like, oh, Mei Mei, Ning Ning. It's like you're talking to a little baby, like, oh, kitty kitty, coochie coochie, All right. Says that she's going to have some success, on some activities that maybe is going to be focusing on her. This East Tile represents her, and obviously she's maybe trying to do some things to maybe improve her talents, but also maybe showcase her talents a little bit here and there. Um, and there's going to be some positive things to come out of that in some way. I don't know if it's going to be very really overt that everybody knows about it, but something that at least behind the scenes. But I think maybe she's going to maybe start to develop this more uh, see show her personality, her individual sense, and beyond just the group more. Um, and that's going to happen and be emphasized over the spring. Um, and it says that it kind of that preparation or that kind of thought or that movement toward that is going to, if she's really honest with herself and the people around her, they kind of know what to do about that. And then it's almost going to be like she's going to kind of go through a little passage of maturity where she's kind of feeling like she's going to go on to use one of their songs, move on to the next level to kind of about her own development. Because this is called the Peacock, and this represents her, and that maybe she's changing the way she sees herself and evolving and maturing and ready to kind of take on, the next steps in her future. So, maybe she's coming out of her little shell a little bit because she was obviously she was she's not a native Korean speaker. She had to learn Korean in training, and so she's the MAC, she's the youngest, so she kind of holds back, but maybe she's going to kind of come into her own a little bit more this year and kind of break out of that a little bit or have the opportunity to showcase more of herself. And it's going to require her to maybe part of that is going to require her to be disciplined and patience because the more you put yourself out there, then the more you're going to be scrutinized, and the more there's going to be social media and etc. So there's going to require some discipline and patience. But if she's disciplined and patient in what she's trying to accomplish, she's going to have some success. Maybe in the fall, or in the late summer. So I don't know if they're coming out with a new album or maybe there's some solos involved here. It kind of feels like maybe there's some solos that feature some of these girls on a solo basis and not just group songs, singles, that kind of thing. Maybe there's something like that coming up. We'll see. We'll see what if that's true. And then toward the end of the year, she's going to feel like she's going to be very determined to continue to work on her craft, work on her skills, improve herself. She's very determined, but and she's going to want to maybe explore her creativity and maybe her range of her talents, but also kind of find a way to find things that make her feel comfortable. Now that they've kind of debuted, it's been a couple, 3 years. Obviously the first couple of years are very strictly monitored and managed, and you know, you know, packaged together in a PR point of view. Um, but maybe after a few years of success, then maybe there's a little room to show, individuality, show their own expression, their more color of who they are, their voice, their talents. Um, and she wants to do that. She wants to be more creative. She wants to express herself in more creative ways. But it's going to take hard work, discipline. But she's going to have a little bit of success that encourages her this year. So that's what it says for Ding Ning, uh, Ning Yi Xiao. Um, so that's it from the request. I mean, that's all we have time for this time. Um, but you have any other comments or thoughts there, Meili?
No, just want to wish everybody a beautiful week or weekend, and let's all have
Yeah,
excellent happiness.
yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, well, thanks for helping out with all the numerology and for all these idols, these four idols that we did, and thanks for listening to all my background story on everything. So, but you're new into K-pop, so I wanted
Yeah,
to kind of give you some
yeah,
background, and you could learn some things, and then maybe some viewers out there can learn some things too. I'm not
I
an expert, but
sure.
yeah, I do a little bit of research, and I kind of try to find something to talk about.
Oh,
So,
excellent. It's very good.
yeah. All right. Well, so we're gonna do the next broadcast probably next week. We got a big sporting event that we're gonna be focused on tomorrow with the San Francisco 49ers American football team against the Philadelphia Eagles football team. So I'm gonna be busy with that, watching that.
That's
But but thanks a lot, and we're gonna be doing some some more events, I think, in the next couple of weeks together.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
real life events, for fortune telling. So
Yeah.
we'll see you then, Maylee. But
Okay.
so now for everybody else, until next time, wishing you all good fortunes.
And
Thank you. Bye bye.